This is the second tour, and I didn't realize how hot it was from the first tour. It is incredible. Like you said, the river run. We did a river run. It got to 66 degrees. We ran out of water 3 times where I had to jump out of the vehicle to the back to get more water. And it's just the heat. It's because the heat doesn't come at you. It comes from in the vehicle and up through the hatches into your face, closing your eyes, making you sleepy if you're sitting still. It's just the heat, but I mean, we keep an eye on each other, make sure we're drinking. We have the chiller vests. We do the best we can with what we have. I lost about 10 pounds being there. I didn't think I would, but it's the heat, the rations, the food, and just sometimes the lack of water. You know, the supplies were limited, depends on how it came in. So, and the dust, it's never fun having the dust in your eyes, in your nose, in your ears, everywhere. Yeah. I like to get a lot of sleep when I come home. It's unfortunate for the family and friends, but that's how I try to get back in. And I just like to get out. The first night I just went out for a drive in the morning just to get back on the streets. I did it at night, so there's, you know, there's no stoplights, there's no lines over there, so I just try to get back into the swing of things, doing everything, and go to the store, or just buy like a paper. Just the small things just to get me back in.
We've adapted the tanks to suit the environment we're getting into, and it's evolved in supporting the mission as it's changed. We've learned how to employ the tanks in such a fashion that it becomes more of a security mechanism as opposed to necessarily a consistent offensive weapon. It provides security to the locals as opposed to an intimidation factor. Now, for the insurgents, they hate tanks. They're very scared of them, which is a good thing from our perspective. But the locals are now understanding that we're not there to roll over everything. We're there to provide that security. The overall enthusiasm of the young guys really kept the squadron moving in the right direction. The biggest advantage we had, it was not so much with the fact of putting the fear aside, because that fear is going to be there, and if you put it aside, I think that is actually more of a detriment than a benefit, because the fear tends to keep you on edge, which keeps you sharper, and you're more conscious of what's going on around you. So the old adage of a little fear is a good thing very much holds true over there. We tried to turn it around a little bit and capitalize on the fact that, as you said earlier, we had no casualties. And one of the IED strikes was absolutely massive. At the end of the day, that vehicle survived the strike and the crew survived the strike. And that in itself should build a great deal of confidence for the guys in their equipment to withstand those strikes. And that's how we tried to address it, is that these are success stories. It did a fantastic job protecting the crew. I don't care about the vehicle. The crew survived, and that was the main issue. 6 or 8 weeks into the tour, roughly, and I went over to one of the OPs on the fob, and it actually overlooks a school. And they have a small park in that. There were some swings and some slides, and there were a whole whack of kids out there playing. And it was, if I hadn't known I was in Afghanistan and it was a single snapshot of just the yard of the school, it could have been anywhere in Canada, the US. And that probably was the single most important thing for me in terms of reinforcing the mission. There are positive stories that come out of Afghanistan. We do have a tendency to focus on the failures before we focus on the successes, I find. And for whatever reason, you know, I don't really know why that is. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of successes. There are schools that have opened. The Bazari-Panjwai market, which is right by where we were working in Panjwai, and I know you're familiar with it, there's over 220 shops open in that area now. And when my brother-in-law was there, you met before, Chris Adams, there were 7 when he first arrived. You know, and that's about 18 months now. So it's a huge improvement. Within, Kandahar City, there's huge improvements there as well. You know, the reality is when you go away for 6 months into a country that's totally different than what your environment is, you come back changed. It depends on what sort of aspect you're looking at, but in a number of facets. You certainly come back with a better understanding that the reality is Canada is a fantastic place to live, and a lot of people do not realize how good we actually have it. And you very much come back for that appreciation of what we actually have here. It can be very frustrating for guys coming back, myself included, watching some of the petty moaning and whining that goes on all over the place. And that is annoying more than anything else when people don't realize how good they have it. As for 6 months away from a family, that always has a huge impact as well. But you know, I like to take it as more of a worldly experience. You come back with a broader understanding of what's going on out there.
I would normally start my day at around 6 o'clock in the morning, and I had a rule: I would never take my boots off before 9 o'clock at night. Whenever I took my boots off at 9, it was okay. Took my boots off before 9, something would happen. We'd get rocketed, or I'd have to go see somebody at the gate, or something. Something would always happen if I took my boots off before 9. So that was my routine: 6 in the morning till 9 at night every day. We got a lot of very positive feedback from a lot of the locals. Usually when we had done something nice for them. I wrote an article about a sick child that came to the FOB, and his family, the whole family, were just so appreciative of the fact that we tried, you know, and that was something that they would not have been able to even fathom with their own medical system. You know, there's no way about getting them the medical treatment that they really require over there through their own means. So, you know, the Canadians really brought that humanitarian aspect to the table that wasn't otherwise available. Some tense moments. The rocket that landed just in front of me, that was a little sketchy, but it was a pretty interesting show. Most of the rockets flew over the base. We did have one that landed just in front of me. I'd actually just walked out of the one of the bunkers, and I turned, and that was just when the rocket landed, and it was just on the other side of a cement barrier from me, at about 20 feet. So I watched it come in, I watched it explode, saw the concrete that it hit fly up into the air, and a bit of white phosphorus come out. Like I said, it was a pretty neat show. It's definitely something I'll never see again. I don't know if I'm going to say that I'm glad I had the experience, but I think I learned a lot about myself from the experience. I didn't flinch, which, to be perfectly honest, shocked the hell out of me later, looking back at it. I kind of laughed at it. I thought it was kind of funny. And, you know, as soon as it was done, and the fire had started to go down, I went to make sure that there was nobody hurt. There was, you know, the training kicked in. I went to do my job to ensure that you know, it didn't kill anybody or hurt anybody, and there's no major damage. And it's just another day, you know. And so it's unfortunate to say that it's just another day, but you know, at the end of the day, it was just another day.